Hello YouTube, De-bodgery here. So, I have seen a million videos of people soldering, and I just gotta say, they all do it the hardest way possible. I've been doing this for, well, years. I've been soldering since the mid-70s or so. Anyway, first thing I want to suggest is that if you don't have a solder station, so me, I have a Hacko 936, which I bought new in 2009. But if you don't have a solder station, that's like the number one thing. Get a solder station, have a bunch of different tips. So like right now I've got this flat, blade type tip on here. Get a bunch of different types of tips. Flat blade tips work really well for a lot of stuff, especially when you need to transfer a bunch of heat. So solder station, first choice. Just recently came across something that uses Hacko tips, or clone tips, but the real Hacko ones work too. That's a great solution. I forget what that thing's called, T12 something or another. Anyway, I've never tried one out, but they sure look like they work well, and they use Hacko tips in them, and there's no reason why you couldn't take a Hacko iron and put it in that thing and get an even better tip. Alright, so I want to show you how to properly tin a wire. So anyway, here's a bare end, and I've been doing it this way for a very long time. So what I do is I've got flux open here, and I've just got a little bit on the end of the wire, and I've got a little blob of solder here. This works super well. So all I'm doing here is heating up the solder, melting it. And then I'm going to dip that fluxed end into my blob of solder. And anybody who solders fairly often, they've got extra solder sitting around. So anyway, there you go. That end is tinned. Same thing, I do the other end. Super easy. Dipped it in my flux, dip it in my solder. Ta-da! Tinned. This works for any size wire. So this right here is all 16 og, but it's got a little bit of flux on it. Dip it in. Done. Dip it in the flux. Dip it in the solder. Oh, that one got a little bit less on there I wanted. So sometimes I might have to touch solder iron to it, but that's it. Done. Dip it in. Dip it in the hot solder. Done. Dip it in the flux. Dip in the hot solder. That one didn't quite do. Let me get a little bit more flux on there. Maybe that's what it needs. There we go. Done. Piece of cake. Dip it in the flux. Dip it in the hot solder. Done. Dip it in the flux. Dip it in the hot solder. I see people doing this nonsense where they heat up the wire, and then they've got their solder up next to the wire, and they're trying to get solder to flow into the stuff. And I mean, okay, yeah, sure, that does work eventually, but in between time, my insulation on this wire, and this is just nylon insulated wire, never melted, and I can do this for any size wire. Yeah, so let me see something here that's really thin. Here we go, that works. So here is, and let me just cut that end off. So it's got a tinned end on already. So this right here on the wire, it says this is 24 og, so really fairly thin stuff. And I'm going to strip the end of it off. So there's the bare end. You twist those ends together, so there's the ends all twisted together, so there's no like little frazzled ends. Stick it in the flux. Get my soldering iron. Heat up the solder. Dip. Done. And my insulation never melted. I see people sitting there with a soldering iron on the wire and trying to get solder to flow into it, and in between time their insulation's all melting. Mine is in there for such a short amount of time, nothing happens. It just works. Alright, so that is video 1, just how to tin wire ends. Just super quick and easy. That always works. I mean, I have been using this method for as long as I've been soldering. I couldn't even tell you where I saw it. Probably some guy that I saw years and years ago was soldering like that, and I copied him. But I honestly don't remember because it's been so damn long. But you need flux, and you need a solder blob, and you need a stripped wire end. Dip the wire end in the flux, heat up the solder till it's melted, dip the end of the wire in there. Seconds later, at most a second, you're done. Anyway, I have a whole bunch of wire here to do. I'm not going to do this all, but I've got a whole bunch of little jumpers I need to make for something. But they're all going to get done that way, and it's going to be super quick. So next video I'm going to do is showing you how to join 2 wires together, which is, again, super quick and easy when all your wire ends are already tinned. So enjoy. Here comes another video.